Barbarous Mexico by John Kenneth Turner. Preface. The bulk of the material embodied in this volume was gathered during 2 journeys through Mexico, made in 1908 and 1909. The rest of it was gleaned from a careful study of current writings on Mexico, both in English and in Spanish, and from other sources. My purpose is to give the reader a correct impression of President Diaz and his political and economic system, of the character of the Mexican people, and of the Diaz-American partnership, which has helped to enslave the Mexican nation on the one hand, and has kept the American public in ignorance of the real facts on the other. Current illusions concerning Mexico and its president are exploded, and the American defenders of slavery and autocracy are made to appear in their true light. The term barbarous, which I use in my title, is intended to apply to Mexico's form of government, and not to its people, who have my ungrudging sympathy in the afflictions under which they groan. By John Kenneth Turner, Los Angeles, California, Barbarous Mexico, Chapter 1. I and the Slaves of Yucatan. What is Mexico? In the United States, it is commonly characterized as a sister republic. It is vaguely pictured as inhabited by people a little different in temperament, a little poorer, and a little less advanced, but still enjoying the protection of republican laws, a free people in the sense that the denizens of the states are free. Others who have seen the country through a car window, or speculated a little in Mexican mines or Mexican plantations, paint the government of that country beyond the Rio Grande as a benevolent paternalism in which a great and good man orders all things well for his foolish but adoring people. I found Mexico to be neither of these things. The real Mexico is a country with a written constitution and written laws in general as fair and democratic as those of the United States, but with neither constitution nor laws in operation. Mexico is a country without political freedom, without freedom of speech, without a free press, without a free ballot, without a jury system, without political parties, without any of our cherished guarantees of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is a land where there has been no contest for the office of president for more than a generation, where the executive rules all things by means of a standing army, where political offices are sold for a fixed price. I found Mexico to be a land where the people are poor because they have no rights, where peonage is the rule for the great mass, and where actual chattel slavery obtains for hundreds of thousands. Finally, I found that the people do not idolize their president, that the tide of opposition, dammed and held back as it has been by army and secret police, is rising to a height at which it must shortly overflow that dam. Mexicans of all classes and groups agree that their country is on the verge of a revolution in favor of democracy. If not a revolution in the time of Diaz, for Diaz is old then, a revolution after Diaz. My special interest in political Mexico was first awakened early in 1908, when I came in contact with 4 Mexican revolutionists who were at that time incarcerated in the county jail at Los Angeles, California. Here were 4 educated, intelligent Mexicans, college men all of them, who were being held by the United States authorities on a charge of planning to invade a friendly nation, Mexico, with an armed force from American soil. Why should intelligent men take up arms against a republic? Why should they come to the United States to prepare for their military maneuvers? I talked with those Mexican prisoners. They assured, human beings bought and sold like mules in America, and in the 20th century. Well, I told myself, if it's true, I'm going to see it. So it was that, early in September 1908, I crossed the Rio Grande bound for my first journey through the backyards of Old Mexico. On this occasion, I was accompanied by El Gutierrez de Lara, a Mexican of distinguished family, whose acquaintance I had also made in Los Angeles. De Lara was opposed to the existing government in Mexico, which fact my critics have pointed out as evidence of bias in my investigations. On the contrary, I did not depend on De Lara or any other biased source for my information, but took every precaution to arrive at the exact truth, and by as many different avenues as practicable. Every essential fact which I put down here in regard to slavery in Mexico, I saw with my own eyes, or heard with my own ears, and usually heard from those individuals who would be most likely to minimize their cruelties, the slave drivers themselves. Nevertheless, to the credit of De Lara, I must say that he gave me most important aid in gathering my material.
This means, in the case of an American Negro, born in that glittering republic, and in the moment you are born, since you don't know any better, every stick and stone and every face is white, and since you have not yet seen a mirror, you suppose that you are too. It comes as a great shock, around the age of 5 or 6 or 7, to discover that the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you, 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 that the Indians were you.